As the prison lights flicker to life, I press record on this makeshift device, an unexpected gift from a guard who sees more than the bars and uniforms. My name is Jamie Shade Reynolds, and I'm serving a 15-year sentence for a crime I didn't commit. This diary is my lifeline, a way to capture the fading echoes of my past and the sharp truths of my present. I can hear the clang of heavy cell doors and the distant murmur of conversation, the sounds that have become my companions in this confined world. Every evening is marked by a ritual of solitude, but tonight feels different. With each confession of my thoughts, I unravel the threads of my memory, vivid shades of a life once lived. Here, amidst concrete walls, I dream of freedom. The yearning to paint the colors of my lost dreams fills the hollow spaces of my heart. As I sit here, in the dim light of my cell, I can't help but drift back to a world that feels like a distant dream. I remember the sun filtering through the trees in my childhood backyard, the warmth of my mother's smile as she encouraged my passion for art. I was that kid with a sketchbook clutched to my chest, doodling everything from the whimsical to the profound. But those innocent days shattered the night they came for me, a mistake spiraling into nightmare. The betrayal hung heavy in the air as the police pulled me from my life, handcuffed and bewildered, while just beyond the horizon, a future filled with dreams of artistry slipped away. Every time I close my eyes, I see my life unfolding in strokes of color. Yet here I am, trapped behind these bars, yearning for a second chance that feels increasingly out of reach. As Jamie leans back against the cool concrete wall of his cell, he surveys his surroundings, the stark reality of prison life pressing in on him. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting a harsh glow over the steel fixtures and painted cinder block walls. He catches snippets of laughter mixed with the clang of metal as inmates shuffle past, navigating the unspoken hierarchies that define this world. Each day unfolds in a familiar rhythm, punctuated by the routines of meals, yard time, and count. He witnesses the bonds formed in the chaos, moments where laughter cuts through the despair. Yet for Jamie, the isolation gnaws at him. He reflects on the absence of freedom, the weight of his wrongful conviction heavy in his chest. As he records these observations, he feels the yearning to be seen, to connect with those around him, and to carve out a semblance of hope amidst the shadows. As the weeks in the cold confines of my cell dragged on, a guard named Officer Winters slipped me a small, battered recording device. It felt like a lifeline, a way to breathe life into the claustrophobic silence that often gripped me. With my heart racing, I pressed the button and began to speak, the words flowing out in a rush of relief and creativity. This was my sanctuary, a space where I could pour out my thoughts, fears, and dreams amid the clang of steel and the distant echoes of life beyond these walls. In the days that followed, art emerged as a new form of expression, an escape that allowed me to connect with the world outside my cell. Armed with a simple sketch pad and a set of worn pencils, I began to draw, capturing the essence of life among the shadows. Each stroke felt liberating, like reclaiming a part of myself that had been lost in this sea of despair. The transformation had begun, and for the first time since my arrest, I felt a flicker of hope igniting within me. Loneliness has a way of creeping in when the lights dim and the halls grow quiet. In my cell, the echoes of laughter and anger from the day fade into an oppressive silence, leaving only my thoughts to accompany me. Routine has become my lifeline, waking, counting the days, and finding solace in the small things. I begin each morning by sketching random shapes on the worn pages of my notebook, searching for beauty within the monotony. As I struggle against despair, I find pockets of joy in unexpected moments. The warmth of sunlight spilling through my tiny window, the taste of the bland prison meals that remind me of home. Memories of my childhood dreams flicker like distant stars, igniting a sense of purpose within me. Each line I draw is a reminder that, despite the bars trapping me, my spirit remains unbroken, yearning for the day I can wield my art freely outside these walls. As Jamie settles into a rhythm behind the bars, he begins to notice the vibrant tapestry of lives around him, each thread woven with hope, sorrow, and untold stories. He reflects on his encounters with notable figures in the prison. Doc, an older inmate with a gentle demeanor and a wealth of wisdom, who has taken Jamie under his wing, and the fierce librarian, Miss Clara, who defies the norm by organizing art and writing workshops. It's during these classes that Jamie meets Carlos, a tattooed musician dreaming of a life where he can strum his guitar freely, and Sarah, who writes haunting poems that echo the pain of separation from her children. Each of these individuals carries scars of their past, yet radiates a desire for redemption. In the flickering glow of the prison lights, they gather, sharing laughter and tears, their stories intertwining like the brushstrokes on Jamie's canvas, illuminating the humanity that transcends the bars that confine them. As Jamie lifts his pencil, he finds himself lost in the contours of a fellow inmate's face. Each stroke reveals more than just features. It unveils stories etched in the skin of those around him. He sketches Malik, a once promising boxer whose career was cut short by a rash decision. In those lines, he captures the weight of lost dreams, the sparkle of resilience in Malik's eyes. Next, Jamie turns his attention to Rosie, a tattoo artist serving time for a crime of passion. Her fierce exterior belies a heart that beats for her daughter, whom she hasn't seen in years. Jamie's pencil glides as he remembers her tales of motherhood and regret, each detail whispering of her strength and vulnerability. Through these portraits, Jamie discovers not just the pain of others, but the shared humanity behind bars, a flicker of hope amidst despair. Each drawing becomes a testament to resilience, connecting the fractured lives inside the prison walls. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jamie felt a spark ignite within him during art class, the unexpected refuge amidst the harshness of prison life. The librarian, a fierce advocate for self-expression, guided them through a discussion on how art could serve as both a mirror and a window, reflecting their innermost selves while allowing glimpses into others' lives. With brushes and vibrant paints spread across the makeshift tables, Jamie watched his fellow inmates transform blank canvases into vessels of emotion. Laughter and banter filled the room as they shared color palettes and stories, the air thick with a sense of camaraderie. In that moment, the walls felt less confining, and the art became a lifeline, each stroke of paint a step towards healing. Jamie picked up his brush, determined to capture the collective soul of his peers on canvas, breathing life into their struggles and dreams, deeply intertwined in this journey they shared within the shadows. As the days unfolded within these unforgiving walls, I couldn't shake the feeling of injustice that clung to me like a shadow. The prison system, with its harsh rules and brutal reality, often felt like a labyrinth designed to break spirits rather than rehabilitate them. During a recent lockdown, chaos erupted as tensions boiled over between two factions of inmates. The deafening clang of metal doors slamming shut mirrored the crash of my own hopes. I huddled in my cell, heart racing, listening to the muffled shouts and the frantic footsteps of guards racing through the corridors. In that spiraling turmoil, I found myself reflecting on the stories buried beneath the hardened exteriors of my fellow inmates. Each day, as I sketched their faces and captured glimmers of humanity, I realized that our shared pain and dreams could be powerful ammunition against the very system that sought to silence us. As Jamie paced the small confines of his cell, a spark ignited within him. The recent conversations with Doc and the restless energy of the other inmates had planted a seed that he could no longer ignore. That night, the dim light of his cell illuminated a vision, a publication that would capture their stories, their truths, buried beneath layers of steel and silence. He sought out fellow inmates, each one intrigued by the idea of sharing their voices with the world beyond the prison walls. Gathered in a corner of the yard during fleeting moments of freedom, they brainstormed titles, topics, and formats, laughter mingling with serious discussions. Jamie felt an electric camaraderie, a shared purpose bonding them together. This project, he realized, was not just about art. It was a manifesto, a declaration of their existence, and a challenge to the injustices they faced within. Their whispered dreams of reform and understanding began to take tangible shape, igniting a hope that had long been dormant. The hum of anticipation filled the small room as Jamie and his fellow inmates huddled around a table cluttered with sketches and notepads. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Their vision of a publication was finally taking shape. With a renewed sense of camaraderie, they brainstormed titles and themes, each idea sparking excitement and laughter. "Let's call it Voices Unbound," suggested Doc, his eyes gleaming with passion. They dove into discussions on how to share their stories, believing that their words could reach beyond the prison walls like candles flickering in the dark. As they planned, Jamie felt a shift within himself. It was no longer just about his art, but about uplifting every voice that had been silenced. Every sketch, every word became a thread intertwining their lives, fostering hope where there had once been despair. Together, they were ready to share their truths, transforming pain into purpose. Jamie's heart raced as he unfolded the letter, a tingling sense of disbelief washing over him. The words scrawled on the page revealed new evidence that could exonerate him, a previously undisclosed alibi that had slipped through the cracks of a flawed legal system. For a moment, hope and fear interwove like shadows in his mind. What if this was the breakthrough he had yearned for, or merely another cruel trick by fate? As he absorbed each line, memories flooded back. The suffocating weight of his wrongful conviction, the bitter taste of betrayal, and the relentless fight for truth. Excitement bubbled in his chest, yet he couldn't shake the tension of unrealized dreams. Would he be released? And if so, what awaited him on the outside? The laughter of his fellow inmates echoed in his ears, grounding him. They were intertwined in this journey, their tales echoing resilience, reminding him that he was not alone, no matter what was to come. The tension in the air was palpable as Jamie and his allies stood before the prison authorities, ready to advocate for their publication project. Jamie felt his heart race. This was not just about their stories. It was about reclaiming their voices. They presented their case, pushing back against the walls of silence imposed on them. "This is our chance to tell the truth," Jamie argued, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. The guards listened, their expressions unreadable. But as Jamie spoke of hope and the potential for change, he could sense the small shift in the room, a flicker of awareness. However, the threat of punishment loomed large, a shadow over their courageous endeavor. Days stretched into an agonizing wait. Doubts crept in alongside anticipation. Yet the bond among the inmates deepened, fortified by a shared commitment to speak out against injustice, ready to face whatever consequences lay ahead.